Hi everyone! Today the video will be about the combination between INTP and different Enneagram types. This is basically a series that I started last year, I think last December or January, where I started talking about some of the most common MBTI and Enneagram pairings. I talked about ENTJ, ENFP, ISFJ, ISTP, INFJ and ENTP, and today I'll be talking about INTP and the most common Enneagram types that occur for the INTP. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So the most common Enneagram types paired with INTP are Enneagram Type 5 and Enneagram Type 9. Enneagram 5 and INTP is literally the reason why we have so many stereotypical descriptions of INTP being the scientist or the person who's always interested in research, etc., because Type 5 is literally called the investigator. So this is the Enneagram type that is most concerned with understanding, with learning, with gathering as much information about something as possible so that they feel like they have a deep knowledge of the subject, like they're an expert in a field. And this Enneagram type is very, very often associated with MBTI types that are both introverts and thinkers. So INTP, ISTP, but also INTJ and ISTJ. So when we have an INTP Type 5, we will have usually a very introverted person, at least in the classical definition of the term introvert, a person who spends a lot of time trying to understand the topics that they are most passionate about, a person that spends a lot of time doing research, learning, but that doesn't mean they will necessarily be bookworms. Some of them might be very much interested in business or traveling, etc., but deep down their core motivation will still come from the need to secure the knowledge that they might want to store about something, because we have TI, introverted thinking, on the one hand, a function that is very much interested in understanding, breaking things down logically, categorizing data, and so on and so forth. And then we have the Enneagram Type 5 as well, which basically has a very similar interest with respect to that. INTP 5s might be very much in a TI-SI loop sometimes. I'm not saying it's always the case. But this is probably why they will show their more introverted side even more than other types of INTPs. They might be a little bit softer because they will have a little bit of difficulty expressing their feelings, as they will spend so much time trying to logically understand, logically categorize things. This is also a combination that will often come with a higher level of anxiety than an INTP Type 9, for example, because Type 5 in the Enneagram is an anxiety type or a fear type. It belongs to the thinking triad, and in the thinking triad, the core emotion is fear. That's why Type 5s will often try to learn something in so much depth or become an expert in something, because they feel like only by doing so will they be able to rely on something, will they have a place in society, will they have something important to contribute with. So this higher level of anxiety might be associated with this particular combination. Now, I also mentioned that INTP Type 9 is another possible one, and a rather common one as well. Generally speaking, Enneagram 9 is pretty widely spread. We can find it among a lot of different people. I would say it's much more common among introverts than extroverts, but other than that, it's quite widely spread. And INTP 9 is a pretty likely combination as well. What I would point out about this particular combination is that the person will be a little softer, but softer in the sense that their thinking function will not be so much in your face as it is in the case of the 5. Because 9s are called the mediators. or the peacemakers, they will be very much interested in harmony and conflict avoidance. Type 9, being a rage type or a gut type, will often try to avoid any type of conflict, whether that is external conflict or internal conflict, because based on this idea, he or she, they believe that they will be able to stay in control of themselves, of their lives, and so on and so forth. Because control makes them feel like, conflict makes them feel like they're losing control over what's going on with themselves, with their lives, with their relationships, and all of these kinds of things. So an INTP 9 will be slightly more in the background, slightly more concerned with maintaining that harmony, maintaining that level of connection and peace around them. They will be slightly more nurturing and slightly less cold compared to a more stereotypical Enneagram 5 INTP, because they will not spend maybe as much energy into feeling like they're experts in a field. Of course, they are still TI hero types. They will still very much be interested in learning, breaking things down, understanding the basic principles according to which things work. That will not disappear regardless of the Enneagram type. But just in comparison to the INTP Enneagram 5, the 9 version will be slightly more interested in harmonizing the relationships around them and making sure that conflicts do not occur. And what I mean by that is that they will have a very strong tendency to want to take on the emotional needs of the people that they care about on their shoulders, even when not necessary. And they will stress a lot about it because of this conflict fear that they have, because of the fact that they're really trying to harmonize and connect. And I would say that, of course, this is the case for INTP Enneagram 5 as well, because inferior extroverted feeling is still there. But the tendency of the INTP 9 to do that will be a little bit more obvious or a little bit stronger than the tendency of the INTP 5, who might engage a little bit more in a TI-SI loop or find themselves a little bit more into that. Now, I would say that literally INTP 5, INTP 9 are usually the combinations that we find. However, 6, 7, and 8 are all types that we can find for INTP. We can find the other ones as well. 4 is also possible. 1 and 3, I would say, are very rare. 2, again, extremely rare. I don't really know anyone who's an INTP 2, not even fictional characters. But the other ones, 6, 7, 8, I would say are moderately likely for the INTP. Not as likely as 5 and 9, but still, nevertheless, they're possible. So I'm just going to quickly go through that as well. Because 6 and 7 are also part of the thinking triad, they will also show more anxiety, especially 6, that is literally in the middle of the fear group. And an INTP 6, I would say, is slightly more likely to show their tertiary function, their child function, the introverted sensing. They will be slightly more likely to try to secure, slightly more likely to try to find safety and comfort, and do the things that they're used to doing. Enneagram 7 INTPs will appear to be slightly more extroverted, at least in a traditional understanding of the word extroverted. Because of this openness to new things, openness to exploration, their extroverted intuition, the parent function, might be slightly more developed than in the case of other INTPs. And this will shine out more. It will become a little bit more obvious, more interesting for them to explore. And then Enneagram 8 INTP, this is the challenger, again will be a more extroverted version of the INTP. So it will not fit the picture of the very stereotypical introverted INTP, as it is the case with Enneagram 5 and Enneagram 9. In this case, the 8 will make the INTP show a much stronger energy. If you guys think of ISTPs, this is the case as well. We have ISTP 8s who are these bad boys or bad girls from TV shows and are portrayed in this way, which sometimes confuses people who think, oh, I can't be an ISTP because I'm not such a badass. And I would say this translates to INTPs as well, because if we see examples of INTP 8, we might find these people to be much more in control, to be more extroverted, to be more outspoken than your typical INTP 5 or 9, as I said. So this might be a slight difference or a flavor of the INTP personality in combination with another Enneagram type. So these are my thoughts on the most common types for the INTP and the differences that we might see occurring between these specific pairings. I'm really curious, if you're an INTP who's watching this video, what is your Enneagram type, and even maybe what is your tri-type? Because even in our tri-type, we might have certain combinations of these numbers that I mentioned here. If you have any other observations about the combinations between INTP and different Enneagram types, I'm looking forward to hearing more opinions from you, more perspectives. And as always, thanks a lot for watching this video. Thanks a lot for being with me. See you next week with another video. Thanks a lot.